I keep telling you, I don't watch new movies anymore, and it's not because I'm hooked on the Cold War and all those films in that time, because it was over by the time this one came out, and it's not because I love boomer cinema or boomers at all, even though it's starring boomers. We were in between the Cold War and the War on Terror, so we had to think outside the box. We had to make stories with all the backdrops we used to have, and it's not because I hate diversity, because this movie has a black friend. Like, very few movies are perfect. Like a self contained story. Hackers, Colossus, The Forbin Project, Mission Impossible, and The Brave Little Toaster. Even fewer movies were given $20 million dollars to realize their vision. It's a mid budget movie by today's standards, but it paid off handsomely. Berlin Wall was down, Gorbachev was out, Yakov Smirnov's career was over, America was down bad, but that's okay, because this movie brought us back.
You seen anybody?
Shh, it's about cryptography.
You mean codes?
I mean unbreakable code. You seen this?
Do you like watching America after winning the Cold War? Do you like watching an American group of misfits and hackers go up against the CIA, Mafia, and Russia and win? Do you want to see Turner from 3 Days of the Condor again? Well, I have the movie for you. In a world where America had peaked, the commies were toast, and we still believed that showing people the truth was the way to solve America's problems. One group of men take on the entire world and win. Storytelling as it was meant to be. Stories perfectly told. A movie that answered the question, what do we do when the old world order breaks down? In the age of peak Hollywood genre, your standard garden variety director was given the greatest actors of the last 40 years and the best new talent in the 90s to bring back the espionage thriller for the internet generation. If Unforgiven was the epilogue for the spaghetti western, this was the epilogue for the spy movie, and it's awesome. The tech is cyberpunk, not like the script kiddies we have today. It was the Wild West, freaking, hacking, social engineering. 4chan ain't shit compared to these experts.
Sorry to waste your time, gentlemen. I don't work for the government.
We know.
It's the pinnacle of movies. Robert Redford, the Silent Generation's Brad Pitt, teamed up with Sidney Poitier, the Silent Generation's Denzel Washington, to create a spy thriller so good you'd swear you made it up in a fever dream. No lesbians, no diversity, just stories. It's the pinnacle of movies. If you like movies with action, reveals, mystery, banter, without fluff, millennial snark, or diversity, this is the movie for you. It's the pinnacle of movies. It's the peak of espionage.
What the?
Boom!
It can even be forgiven for no gratuitous nudity because it's still awesome. It's good. In fact, it's better than good. Sneakers
Motherfuckers mess
1992.
with me, I'll split your head.
So, what's Sneakers? Sneakers is an espionage spy thriller with hacking thrown in because it's the 90s. It's showing you a great story that's built with like characters, arcs, a simple moral question, and it shows you can get by without using CGI, without overly choreographed fight scenes, and without hundreds of squibs being shot, and make a damn good story that keeps people watching till the end. It's literally perfect. It's a self-contained movie that leaves you not only wanting more, but it gives you something to talk about in the lobby afterwards, back when people used to go watch them in theaters. How do nations work in a world without secrets? What'll happen when the internet makes information free and available? You don't know, and they don't tell you. And that's what I love the best about these movies. It's the working stiffs that made it. Like, nobody knows the director, Phil Alden Robinson. Nobody knows Lawrence Lasker or Waller Parks, and they're the writers. I mean, they wrote War Games, and he directed Field of Dreams, but they were like your neighborhood mechanic. They were competent. They knew what they were doing. But you didn't need an iceberg of lore to understand them. They're just doing their job. And their job was good. And the job they did was awesome. Okay, pause. I hate, and I mean I hate, YouTube movie reviews. Commie video essays talking about the means of production or the philosophy of why I hate my dad projected onto something that's arguably really good. Nerds using AI slop to pray that you fall asleep during the video so you don't pick something better to watch. We are in another entertainment Cold War, and we don't even know it yet. And I want to rant about this. I want to rant about stupid commies. I want to rant about lazy nerds bragging about the box art and the unopened packaging, or mentioning how Quentin Tarantino's the only guy I can't even do that on this one. Like, no one is talking about this movie. Literally no one. Quentin Tarantino doesn't talk about it. Communists are quiet about it, which is surprising, given even the nerds who jerk off about DVD quality and the original wrapping don't talk about it. There's like one channel, Joe Blow Movies, but he talks about everything, so he kind of like doesn't really talk about it either. Critical Drinker doesn't use this as a vessel to shit on Kathleen Kennedy. The Quartering doesn't use it to shit on feminism. If you trusted the internet's collective insanity, it's like this movie didn't exist. And for once, I get to be the guy to show you how fucking awesome this is. Like, you deserve something. It's not even that you deserve better. You deserve something. And for once, I get to be here on the ground floor so that I don't have to help you forget the crap that they fed to you about a great movie, and we can get in and just get started. But hey, since I got time to kill, I'm still going to rant about those pinko, God-fearing, food-not-growing son of a... So the characters, it's an ensemble cast, and there's a bit of something for everybody. So you got Robert Redford as Bishop, and Sir Ben fucking Kingsley as Cosmo. They were hippie, boomer hackers. One got caught, one didn't get caught, and then it's the idea of how they grow up and handle themselves in a new information age. Sidney Poitier is Kreese, former CIA spook. Not the spy spook, not the racism one, and he's kind of the audience insert as well. Dan Aykroyd is Mother. He's the comic relief conspiracy theorist, really good at like hacking and hardware. David Strathairn, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's Whistler, the blind guy. He's really good at phone freaking. If you guys don't know, freaking is to the telephone network what hacking is to the internet. And then you got River Phoenix. He's Carl. He's the up-and-comer, he's the new guy, he's the quick study, he's the quick learn, he's going to be the next generation to take over stuff. And then you have Mary McDonnell, which you might recognize from Battlestar Galactica as President Roslin. She was Liz. She's the audience, and she's the other audience. And characters so much as they are deconstructed modern archetypes in the espionage thriller. So you have like hippie activists. It's the same as Turner, which was in 3 Days of the Condor, which was the video just before this one that came out. It's almost like treating this one like a sequel. In fact, if you look at Unforgiven as the finale of the spaghetti western characters with no name, like Angel Eyes, this is kind of the same for 3 Days of the Condor. Really neat thing. This is the Unforgiven of spy thrillers. Kreese, former Cold War agent, has to find work. He's a literal Ronin, a masterless samurai. He may be an old dog and he can't learn new tricks, but he's still got a dog in the fight. And as far as good arcs go, there's really only the one, and it's not even Bishop or Cosmo, it's kind of Bishop and Cosmo. They both have the same questions, like how do those hippie idealists age in the internet age? One goes one way, one goes the other way, and that's kind of the arc that you're following here. It's more of like a philosophical point as opposed to like a straight up character serialized drama. And they tell the story, protagonist and antagonist. They're the same person trying to achieve the same things but doing different methods. Big reason you notice this, because Cosmo trying to take out the banking system with this new fancy chip, which comes up later. And how does Bishop end up using it in the end? Same reason, but again, comes up later. It's really interesting. But yeah, so Bishop And then as they age, Bishop starts a business, hires misfits from the 90s, becomes a productive member of society. Cosmo, on the other hand, caught by the cops, he's turned into a life of crime and uses the evils of the world to fund his plans for a direction that all progressives seem to go. Burning the world down because of fairness or whatever commie blather is hot today. Fuck you, Dad. The plot point. So the movie doesn't do setups and payoffs so much as it does a series of reveals. The movie's about drip feeding those reveals, which gives the story and the small plot points significance later on. So the reason this is important, and the reason you either want to have callbacks or setups and payoffs or reveals, is because otherwise the story just becomes a paint by numbers. This happens, then this happens. A series of events that happens without any connection to them. But if you add reveals to it, it tends to make everything make more sense. And if you do a really good reveal, like this movie does, as things get revealed, the previous points which weren't interesting gain a new significance. So for example, when they are stealing this black box for what looks like NSA spooks, they find out that, oh my god, they're not, and they're actually trying to kill us. What could possibly be doing this? And then you find out, oh, it's my friend from back in the day. That little reveal gives significance to the previous events. And this is why I love these older, well-done movies. Like, they understand that they're taking you, the viewer, on a journey. They need you to see how things work. They want to set up reveals, stuff that's important later, but you don't know it at the time. And it gives you an appreciation, even over multiple watchings, because now you get to watch it when you already know the reveal. And good storytellers understand this, and they help us do this. It's almost like we have an active role in this, and by figuring out the mystery, which is way more satisfying than spin kicks or CGI effects or lightsaber spins. Alright, the plot. Oh man. First off, when this movie came out, this seemed cool. If you watch it today, Cosmo and Bishop would have been the progressive villains or heroes, depending on how much slop you like. Siphoning money from a power plant to pay for Ugandan trans surgery or some nonsense. Nothing to do with nothing. But it's funny to see how poorly progressive propaganda has held up over the years and how this movie understood that. Like, the guy who left the pinko, commie, hippie crusade ended up becoming the hero. And then the guy who stuck around and truly believed in the cause became of what you would think of today as a World Economic Forum evil villain puppet. It's pretty clever. Even though at the time the people who were writing this definitely liked it, because you can tell at the end where they stole all the money from the Republican National Party and gave it to Amnesty International, which today would be a villain plot point, but back then it was seen as like a feel-good moment. Anyways, to the plot. So you start off with a flashback. It's 1969, aka hippies. College students, Martin Bryce, Cosmo, they hack into the computer network in order to redistribute funds from, conservative stuff to liberal stuff, establishing their idealism. The police raid the operation. Cosmo's arrested, but Martin escapes while he's out for a pizza, becoming a fugitive. And I don't know about you, but if I was in a spy movie with Robert Redford and he wants to go on a lunch run, I'm getting the fuck out of there because I'm either going to get shot or arrested. I'm just saying. So then after this, you skip ahead. Martin, who's now using the alias Martin Bishop, leads a penetration testing team in San Francisco, and they test corporate security systems. And they include, you have an ex-CIA guy, Darren, Mother, Carl, he's the prodigy, the kid. You got Whistler, who is the blind phone freak, and you have, did I already mention Mother? I think I already mentioned Mother. Anyways, so they get a meeting. Two guys who claim to be part of the NSA agree to meet, and they offer him a chance to free up his fugitive status and fix his name and clear his name as long as he steals something from them from a scientist. Now you're left wondering, he's been safe for like 30 years. How did they know that he was not Martin Bishop and this was a fake thing and then the 1969 hacks? They don't know. That's one of those reveals they tell you about later. So as part of doing the reconnaissance for this, they go to a dinner party, talks with his ex-girlfriend Liz. He runs into a friend of his who used to work for the KGB, who's now a freelance agent for the new communist thing. They meet the doctor, what's his name? Dr. Gunter Janik. And he's the guy who has this black box and the chip they need to get. So it's okay, so you got your setup. And then they have to do a practice run of how they're going to hack through the system. There's a whole bunch of little Mission Impossible setup stuff, sets it off. Very clever, very entertaining. Everything is plausible, and it kind of sets up how their hacking skills work. It's like MacGyver, but instead of using paper clips, or Mission Impossible, but instead of like, I'll just jump off a building and solve the problems, they're clever. They use their brains. It's got a bit of a if you've ever watched The Odyssey, or like any of the old Homeric plays, it was all about people being clever enough to sort things out. Their intellect matters more than their brawn. It's got that same vibe here. Anyways, so they eventually break into Janek's office, they steal the blocks, and then they add some moments of levity here where they catch his mistress / secretary, and she starts freaking out. She's going to rat them out, and so they have to make up this convoluted scheme where they make her feel like he was cheating on his wife and blah, blah, blah. It's funny, and you really should watch it. I can't do it justice to talk about here. So now that they got the black box, they go to meet the two NSA agents, and they go to deliver it, and to get paid, and to clear its name, and it's awesome. But once they're there at the meet, there's a newspaper in the car, and it turns out Dr. Janek, he was murdered. They're like, wait a minute. So they escape barely with their lives in a pretty cool tension building scene. You know, it's your mother, Colin. Like, NSA doesn't kill people. Who did this? Now you have this double mystery. How did they know about Bishop? How did they kill the guy? Who are these people? Are they actually even NSA, or do they just make it up? So the first thought, maybe it's the Russians. Let's find out. So they go talk with their Russian contact, the guy that you met at the dinner party earlier, and he lets them know a few key pieces of information, some more reveals. The chip is only good for American systems, does not work on the Russians. But they didn't steal it, but they want to steal it, and they can help him. He gets kind of scared, though. Tells Bishop's like, yeah, man, you need to disappear again, because this is bad. At this point, the FBI, supposedly the FBI pulls over the car, tell Bishop to get out. They take his gun out of his pocket, shoot the Russian ambassador, ex-spy, and then they frame it on him, kidnap him, throw him in a trunk so he doesn't know where he's going, and they bring him into an office, and that's where Bishop meets his old friend. Cosmo was in charge of the whole thing. That's how they knew about the fake identity. That's how they knew, and that's how they could kill, because he's working for like the Russian mob now. They broke him out of jail. He was using his hacking skills for evil, and now he wants the chip because he wants to break down the monetary system, reduce all debt to zero. Like, how funny is that? The villain in Sneakers is Tyler fucking Durden. Think about that. It's pretty clever. So they drop Bishop off, and he's going to be wanted by everybody. He's wanted by the NSA, he's wanted by the FBI, he's wanted by the police. They are on the run, and the only place they know to hide is at his ex-girlfriend Liz's place. It's the last place they would think to look for him. And they need to come up with a plan to clear their name, to steal the black box back, because they find out what it does. It breaks all encryption systems for America. They can break into anything. Power grid, White House, Federal Reserve, anything. And they're like, yeah, this is way too much power for one person. So they set themselves up with a counter heist plan. And this is the really clever stuff. Like, it's a heist movie for a MacGuffin, but they get you into the details. They show you there's like Mission Impossible style. There's a heat sensor, a motion sensor, a voice sensor, a credit card sensor, and they have this convoluted plan. They surveil the building for a couple days. How did they even find out which building it was? Well, Whistler, the blind guy, he's like, what'd the road sound like? And they listen, so there's no foghorn. The seams in the pavement went at this kind of pace, and they really break down, and then they use the sounds of the road on the way there to be able to track it. Like, again, it's really interesting stuff. So that all that plan works. The only thing they need now is the voice software. They find out the guy working in the office next to the one that they were in, and they set him up on a date with Liz. And then Liz tries to get him to say all the magic words for the voice prompt. While they go into the machine, so now that they have everything together, they go down and they start to break into the system. Everything's going well. They manage to steal the box. It's really good tension. And then all of a sudden, the guy on the date with Liz, he thinks she's trying to steal his toy secrets or whatever. So she brings him down to the facility, and they run into Cosmo. And then Cosmo, once he finds out that they were put on a computer date, he realizes, no, this is a setup. Bishop did this. So he kidnaps her and uses her to get Bishop to turn himself in. They're about to get shot, by the way. He takes the box. He's about to leave. Luckily, Carl, who was hacking the temperature system in the building to make things super hot, breaks down off the ceiling. They manage to take out the two NSA guys, and they escape barely. And then they had another scene with a little bit more levity. They need to bring the truck down to come pick them up from the building, but a couple of the guards end up apprehending Mother, and they use a little bit of racism there, which is kind of funny. So what happens is Whistler, who snuck in, he has to sneak into the car. He has to drive it down there by voice command, which he's never done before. Again, it's funny, it's interesting, it carries you through. So just as everybody's about to escape, Cosmo and Bishop have their little last meeting there. Cosmo talks about how he wants to save the world. Bishop tells him stop being a hippie and grow the fuck up, but surrenders the box at gunpoint. Luckily, he did a swap. He swapped the fake box they had for the real box. It's like, oh, okay, so I get that. That makes sense, because he had the fake box before. He didn't have time to swap it out because of the kidnappings. Everything kind of works. So they manage to escape. Everything goes well. NSA is waiting for them. Turns out James Earl Jones right here in like this crazy awesome cameo. They find out, they start asking some questions. They realize the NSA doesn't want it to stop the Russians or whatever. They want it to spy on the other agencies in the States. So they're like, yeah, if we're going to do this, we're going to keep our mouths shut, and you're not going to kill us because you need the whole thing to go silent. Bishop wants his name cleared. Whistler wants peace and goodwill for men. Kreese wants a vacation to Europe with his family. Mother wants a Winnebago, and Carl wants a date with the hot NSA agent there. So again, it's pretty funny. They take the chip, they leave, everything's done. But you find out, again, another swap. Bishop took the chip for himself because he's like, this is too much power for anybody to have. What do they do with it? They steal all the money from the Republican Committee or the Republican Party, and they give it to Amnesty International. And I can't help but think, it's kind of what happened in real life, wasn't it? Like, it takes a whole new meaning on now that you got the Trump and USA aid thing that's been happening in the news. If you don't know, look it up. It happened in 2025. I don't know when you're watching this video. So yeah, we had a brief period in the 80s and the 90s where we did not know how good we had it. We had the best of the best, and we didn't even know it yet. So much gold. And even after we got rid of the communists, even after the Cold War was over, even after these actors now in their 60s, they still had another one in the can. And they're like, yeah, we still got this. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but the old dog still got some fight left in him. I don't know, man. I just love it. And there's no way you don't love it. And I'm not talking in the ironic way that people watch The Room or Mystery Science Theater 3000, where everybody laughs at how bad the acting is and how it's missing effects here and blah, blah, blah. I mean, sincerely love it. It's in the same way you have comic books creating wonderful stories in a world that still has sophisticated novels. You have indie games in a billion-dollar world of AAA consumer product / gambling things. You have a sophisticated spy, crime, thriller / comedy ensemble casts that treat you like you deserve. You're a smart guy. You can figure things out. You want to be entertained. You like being taken along for the story, but you want to do a little bit of work for yourself, and it gives you just enough to keep you guessing. And they do it without any communism as an easy villain. It's not easy to do. It's the pinnacle of a fun, it's a great movie. It keeps you engaged with the tricks and tactics of storytelling that have entertained people since before the written word. So enjoy it, because I damn well did. Cheers, fellas.